So in this video I'm going to be doing a sort of overview of my new PC, which I built a month ago now. It's been since I built this new PC, and yeah, so far it's been pretty brilliant. So I guess first of all we'll take a look at the case. So the case that I used, well this case that I'm using now is the Antec VSK 3000 Elite, which this case I've chosen because overall I really like the look of it. I mean, it's a pretty nice sort of, it has like this sort of modern type look about it, and with the addition of the drive bays, I've also chosen it because it has drive bays, which is what I want. So on the front here we have two USB ports with audio jacks, and we have DVD drive and floppy disk drive, which I've added those myself. Those don't actually come with the case. And then sort of like on the right hand side here is like the vents that sort of like mesh type vents on the side, and I've had it for a month and already there's some dust starting to gather on them, so yeah, probably gonna have to clean it out regularly, this PC. And also there's like more vents along the front here on the left side as well, and there's also another sort of vent hole at the bottom. And on the side there's also additional ventilation, which is like this massive sort of vent here, which helps sort of draw air in. There's actually sort of two methods of intake in here. So you've got the front intake, which sort of, I guess, provides, I'll show you later when I sort of open up the actual chassis, but we have a nice sort of vent here, which is a nice big one. So it's there's a fan at the back here which sort of like exhausts the air out, and it's sort of like drawing it in through there. And there's also a fan at the front which also assists in intake as well. So at the back we have, if I can just move it around, so at the back we have the power supply, which is a 650 watt unit from Be Quiet. I don't remember the exact model, but it's a quiet one. It lives up to its name apparently. Motherboard, rear I/O, so we got two USB. PS2's not in use anymore because I still have my PS2 keyboard, the Fujitsu one. I still have that, but it's in the wardrobe because I'm now using the Logitech keyboards that I've had, and there's display out on the motherboard, but that's not being used. So there's HDMI and VGA, but those aren't being used now because I have a graphics card at the bottom, which I will get to in a minute. And then here I have there's USB 3 ports, and I have I believe that's the webcam, and that one of course is for the floppy disk controller, that one there. And then there's more audio jacks and networking. But on the graphics card there's two HDMIs, two display ports, DVI, and the network card, which I've actually taken from the Fujitsu. If you're wondering what's happened to the Fujitsu, that I gave that to a friend in college because he needed a new PC. And yeah, let's open up this case now. So you undo it by undoing. I wish these were captive though, It would have been nice if they'd have made these captive screws so there isn't a risk of losing them. That would have been nice on this Antec case. So I'll just slide off this panel. And I do apologise for the terrible cable management, but in this case it is hard, and also I have all these drives hooked up, and it proves quite a challenge for cable management. So the motherboard that I've used is the Asus Prime H510 Plus, I think it is, with the Intel Core i3 10105F. Memory, I have two sticks of 8 gig DDR4, so that's totaling up to 16 gigs. I don't remember the frequency, so you'll have to guess that, I guess. The rear exhaust fan is a Arctic F12. That's doing the exhausting, and at the front I have you can't really see it that well. Oh, it's an Antec. It's actually an Antec case. I don't know what the model is, but it actually came with this case. It was on the back, but I moved it to the front because I wanted a more I guess powerful exhaust fan for the back. So that's that, and now I've got the light on. You can sort of see the internals a bit better now. So there's the CPU cooler. It's just the 10th generation Intel stock cooler, which and then we come to the graphics card, which I've done a video on this card. You may have seen the video of me repasting it and installing it into this build. And if you haven't seen that video, this graphics card is a Sapphire Nitro ATI Radeon RX 580, which is actually a really nice card. And you may notice that there's a I quite like this. This is, although I really don't like RGB in computers. I really don't like RGB unless it serves a purpose. This does. You may notice that it's like pulsating this sort of like blue sort of, I think teal, I don't know. I'm not very good with complex colours, colour hues, temperatures, but this will actually change colour depending on the temperature of the card. So if the card starts to, say, overheat or get warm, this will sort of change to a more sort of orangey, sort of, reddish type colour, which that is handy because then it will actually warm, and I think it pulsates faster when it's getting warmer. So yeah, that is actually quite a good feature, and I quite appreciate that, even though I do not like RGB in PCs. Now for the drives, for the SSD, I have don't know if you can see it, a Kingston NV2 250GB SSD NVMe SSD, I should say. And for hard drives, I have these are out of the Fujitsu. This is the Seagate Medalist. Again, don't remember the exact model number, but at the moment that's not actually active. That's actually spun down because the computer's not using that. In fact, I think I can get it to spin up actually. Bear with me a sec. There we are. That is a nice sounding hard drive, I must admit. And the other hard drive, that is the... I've had this hard drive for a while now. That is the Western Digital RE4 1TB, which has all my Steam games and other photographs. And then this is the floppy drive that I installed, which has its own USB floppy controller, which is actually quite handy because it's actually being powered by the USB as well. So I recommend if you're installing a floppy drive, get one of these floppy controllers off eBay. They're quite cheap. I believe I got this for about between £5 or £10, something like that. And then of course the DVD drive, which was also pinched from the Fujitsu. I also pinched, in fact, I think half the parts in here were actually migrated from the Fujitsu, which was the Wi-Fi card, both hard drives, the DVD drive, and I think that's it. Although I did test, when I got this floppy drive, I did test it in the Fujitsu before I put it in this, so I guess that counts as a migration from that. But then, I guess I'll explain how the sort of air cooling system works in here. So you've got this fan which is intaking from the front, the vents that are on the front, which I pointed out earlier, that's actually sucking air in, helping to cool this GPU down. And then, as I said, there's this nice vent on the side panel there, which is actually bringing in fresh air to keep also the CPU cool. So, I mean, the cable management may look absolute ass, but I did at least make sure that all the fans were clear of any cables, that they were not, the cables were not hitting any of the fans, which at least that is the most important thing. I mean, to be honest with this build, I really don't care about aesthetics, because when the panel's on, you don't see those cables. So, yeah. That is basically what my PC consists of. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. I explained the motherboard and I guess I could go into detail a bit more about the power supply. I mean, I did say it was the Be Quiet. I don't remember the model number of it, or to be honest, half the parts in this build I don't remember the model number too. But yeah, all I know is that's a 650 watt non-modulars. I mean, I could have got a modular power supply, which would have helped with cable management, to be honest. Although I don't know if it would have done, because I'm actually using all the SATA cables, well, most of them anyway, to power all these drives. And also I'm using the PCI external PCI power to power the graphics card. So I guess modular power supply wouldn't have mattered in this case, because I'm actually using all the cables, including the Molex connector, which is powering the Seagate drive. So yeah, that is just a brief look at this really nice machine. Actually, I'm quite happy with this. I guess I'll probably do like an update when I'm like cleaning it out or something. Maybe at least try and do something with the cable management, but like I said, it's like quite hard. Maybe I guess I could do sort of like I guess I could say like building in this computer is actually quite fun. You know, because I built this myself. Although another thing about this case which is slightly annoying is the fact that the PCI things They were the ones where you had to sort of break them off, you know, the disposable sort of PCI cover things. Not a huge fan of those, to be honest. I prefer the ones where you could just screw them in. But I guess it was a cheap case. This case was about 50 quid, I think, when I got it. And yeah, what else could I say? Oh, another thing. These fans, unfortunately, they're not PWM. They are voltage controls. So there's not really that much in the way of control there, and I did have to get a fan splitter as well because my motherboard only has one chassis fan header. And also another thing which, like, I really wish that motherboards would come with and that is, like, I don't know if you can see, a little PC buzzer. You know, like the little buzzer that usually comes with PCs. That is something I really wish that motherboards would provide, because I actually had to rip that little buzzer out of, like, an old alarm clock. Yeah, that was out of an alarm clock. Like, I'm using it for the blimmin' PC speaker. So yeah. I guess I'll wrap the video up here, and so yeah, my whole verdict on this system, it's perfect. Like, I mean, building in it was a little bit of a challenge, but at least the specs that I've chosen, it also gives me chance for me to upgrade this into the future. I mean, like, I might upgrade to a Core i5, or I mean, if the GPU breaks, I'll get a new GPU, and yeah. So yeah, here's another good look at it if you want to see the whole. I mean, also this case, it really makes a difference to those fish tank cases that you normally see. You know, it's really is a breath of fresh air, to be honest. And I know you may be thinking that this case doesn't have much airflow. It does, as I explained, because you got these intakes here, and then like these intakes, and then of course you got this massive sort of grill on the front, which is helping like air to be sucked in via this fan at the back. So that is sucking air in to help keep the CPU cool, and also what's being sucked in here is also giving air to the GPU. So temperatures are actually really cool in here. Oh, and by the way, I also got a new printer, so I might do a video on that at some point. So yeah, and then of course I've got all this blimmin' software and discs and stuff. But yeah, that is my new PC, and I would like to know what you think of it in the comments. I mean, is there anything you'd like to say about this PC? Maybe something that I could improve, other than the cable management, of course, because there's nothing I can really do about that. But yeah, that's me. That's my new PC. So, anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.